Hi, and welcome to another review video. Love Song for Illusion was very promising, but I'm not really sure whether it lived up to its expectations. Love Song for Illusion had 16 episodes and aired on KBS2 from January 2nd to the 27th of February. This series is based on a webtoon with the same name and takes place in a historical fantasy setting. The story takes place in a small kingdom where Sajo Sung one day decides to kill the current royal family and he takes over as the new king. Not surprisingly, he's not that good at being a king and spent most of his time with drinking and women. Now, our main girl, Yeonwol, is played by Hoon and I think this is the first time she is one of the lead characters in a drama series. She witnessed the murder of her family members when she was young, and she is the only royal descendant who is still alive, and she's been training to take revenge. The story starts when she's grown up and ready to take revenge by trying to assassinate the king. Now, the main boy in this series, Sajo Yeon, is played by Park Ji-hoon, who was a member of 101 and has acted in series such as Love Revolution and Weak Hero Class. His father, Sajo Sung, the new king, he forced him to join him when he killed the previous royal family, and this has left him traumatized and has resulted in an evil spirit sharing his body with him. And this resulted in a sort of dual personality. His normal personality is more quiet and considered incompetent, but he enjoys working away from the palace as a fashion designer. The evil spirit, on the other hand, is, well, obviously more evil. He also takes on the type of personality that his father actually likes. And there's actually another adversary in this series, namely Sajo Young, who is played by Hwang Hee, and he is the half-brother of our main character, and he would very much like to become the next king, so he's usually scheming and trying to plot against his half-brother. I felt that this series had a lot of promise, but I don't think it delivered on its promise. The ratings for the first episode started at 4.3% and they slowly went down to around 2%, finishing its final episode with a 2.3 rating, which I think it sort of matched my thought on this series. So the first episode is very quick and has a lot of background information. I really felt like I had to pay attention to fully understand what was happening, also for the rest of the plot, but it is very engaging. I liked the way that the characters were introduced, and I actually really enjoyed the first few episodes of this series. However, the rest of the series also moves at a very fast and similar pace, and while the story itself on its own is very interesting, the execution feels a little bit messy to me, because as everything sort of happens very quickly, it feels a bit chaotic, and sometimes it feels as if some scenes or some sort of build-up of the story is a bit missing, which for me made it more difficult to identify and connect with the characters. A sort of non-spoilery, non-specific example is a character who is somewhat randomly introduced in an episode, and they connect with some of the other characters, and then sort of something happens to move the plot forward. And at this point, it's supposed to be very emotional, but we've only known this character for a few minutes, and it seems as if the other characters have also only known them for a very short time. So it does not feel very emotional to me. Well, this was a character that could have been introduced a lot earlier to make this emotional connection a bit stronger, I think. And then after this event happens, the story never really goes back to this person or to this event, so it feels a bit disconnected to the rest of the story. And I think a lot of parts feel a little bit disconnected for each other. It feels as if there's sort of gaps in what you're watching. But there are also quite a lot of side characters, and some of them also seem a bit annoying, and it did not really help for me to enjoy watching it. And I also think some of them were maybe not really necessary for the plot. Another potential plot issue also related to connection is sort of that in the middle of the series, it's not really clear to me what motivates the two main characters. I don't really know what they want. It seemed as if they were just sort of there trying to figure out their lives and responding to the things that happened to them. But yeah, just really did not get what they wanted in life. And this, I think, is especially true for the female lead, which was a bit disappointing as she starts out as a very strong character, but I think she seemed to fade away a little throughout the series. One of the characters that actually really worked well for me was Hoon, the evil half brother wanting to be king. Like, he was very smart, it was very clear what he wanted, and it was very clear how he was going to get there, or at least how he was attempting to get there. And I just really liked the way his character was written. Like, it had some flaws, but in general, it worked very well, I think, in this series. And then a final thing that sort of made it a bit more difficult for me to connect to this one is also that in the series there's quite a bit of shamanism or magic, and I think the series does not do a very good job of explaining how this works, so it's a little confusing at times. It also makes some solutions to problems a bit odd and sort of makes me wonder, if you can do this now, why did you not do this earlier, those type of things. So overall, I'm not sure if I can completely recommend this series. I definitely did not hate watching it, but I felt like I was sort of in a perpetual state of confusion throughout, and I feel like it could have been so much better than what it was. So I would say if you're looking for historical series, I would go with Nightflower. Maybe with Captivating the King. I would say Nightflower is the better one out of these two. Or if you're looking for a fantasy in a historical setting, I would recommend you watch Alchemy of Souls. However, if you're interested in the premise of this show or in the actors, it might be worth giving this series a try. And if you do, let me know what you think in the comments. Happy watching and see you next time.